What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Alchemy. Today we're going to be doing something music related today, although I don't exactly know what. Let me get this moved over. Hey, what's up, Boki? What's up, ISO? What's up, Fudge? What's up, Diz? What's up, Thorpe? I think that's everybody. Um, was good. So yeah, we are going to go through our everyday quick play spells before we do anything else, but before we do that, very quickly, we've got 25% sale going on right now at alchemy.com in celebration of the new uh, website layout. Lots of stuff. Everything's 25% off. And if you also use a discount code FUKSUNO, 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 then you can get an extra 10% off. And we just put out a new drum pack. I say we, me just put out a new drum pack. It's called Tominus. It's got some really good drums on it. Likely be using some of that today or making something like it. But yeah, I will say we've got some free stuff. If any of you all get the chance, please do me a favor, leave a review. It helps me out so much. Also, if any of you have taken a lesson from me or something of the sort, please leave a review. Really helps me as a business and helps me keep doing stuff like this, which is what I love. So with that, we're going to hop into the quick play spells. And I think that the last thing that we have is here, I want to say. So let's rock that out. And then, yeah, it's got to be this. And then we'll go from there. Right on. I don't have much to say about it because it was just one note, but it's a good note. It sounded good. So this one has a lot of potential, but the problem that I find with it is that it loses a lot of its impact because you just have sounds bleeding into each other. There's no negative space. And like this is something that I hammer into everyone, myself included, when it comes into making beats like this, because you need to have some kind of breath, especially when you have heavy basses and whatnot. But if it's just sound after sound after sound after sound after sound, then it gets boring to the listener because we like get tuned off from it, like, or we get conditioned for it. But also it doesn't contribute to the dance that you're trying to create. And with halftime, like, maybe it's not necessarily the dance, but it is the groove, it is the vibe, it is something that should be easy to be entranced by, if that makes sense. And so really starting and like really cutting off tails for one, and also cutting off your bass note before the snare hits at some point is extremely helpful, because if you have then you're creating this whip, I would say some kind of whip motion that helps it have the push and pull or the rocking back and forth aspect to it. So yeah, give that a shot and let me know what you think. All right, Left Labs 3 snippet. This was nice. I don't really have anything for it, but it was enjoyable. One thing I would say is send me, like, throw it through a limiter, turn it up a little bit. Okay, Spark. Quick play spell beat 3. That's nice. Yeah, I like that. Um, you guys have some nice and fresh ideas. This definitely makes me like think of like a Mega Man scenario or something where I'm customizing my character and my Buster or some stuff like that. But I really like it. I do enjoy this kind of music quite a bit. What up, Fudge?
Thousands of years ago, I was sentenced to death for 1,000 years. But it turned out that I could not die, for I was immortal. For far too long have I idled by in this prison of my own.
That's cool. I like this. Definitely feels somewhere in between Castlevania and Blasphemous. It feels like there's a little bit of harmonic minor and a little bit of Phrygian in there, and I like it. That's the kind of stuff I like melodically. A bit of progress, also loud. Pretty cool. Your mids are insane, as in like I wouldn't be surprised if your tune looked like a huge bandpass. But if you can control that, then your track isn't going to be so like it's weird because it's not going to appear to be so loud. So if you can reduce the mids and clip everything and then turn it up, you can actually get this to be even louder. Huh? This was really interesting. I don't really have any advice for it, but I thought it was pretty cool. If you guys want to submit a quick play spell, then join the Discord. I will do another link. You can do a daily, once per day, 15-second or less submission of something that you're working on or just an idea. It's a great way to hold yourself accountable. And at the beginning of the next stream, depending on when you submit it, I will play it out and give you a thought or two off of what's going on. Should throw stuff in more. Yeah, I agree. You should. Like I said, it's just an accountability thing. It could be a sound, it could be a bass, it could be, a little beat thing or whatever. If you submit now, I'm going to make you wait until Wednesday. But yeah, it's just something that I do all the time. So yeah, I will say on that note, if I say something interesting, if I say something cool, if I do something funny or stupid, please do me a favor and clip it. I need to like do a pre-recording of the advertisements and stuff, but if I do anything interesting, this also really helps me. Post it in the Discord in the clip, because I'll turn it into shorts, and I'm not really doing videos anymore for the foreseeable future because I don't really have anything else to teach, but I still think that I do cool stuff, but just in a matter of, you know what I'm saying? In the means of like bite-sized things. And so we're going to try to go the shorts route and see how that happens, which unfortunately for you all, not unfortunately for me, my shorts are performing better than my videos, generally speaking. People don't want to watch a 12-minute video on a specific subject. They want to look at a 60-second clip and then be like, oh, that was cool, and move on. And I'm kind of trying to roll with the times and see what comes about from that. But I think that I'll still have, like, you can catch the stream and watch that stuff, and then I'll have dedicated tutorials over like production things and whatnot for the members. So yeah. Okay, that was a lot of talking. I think I'm done talking for a little bit. I'm gonna shut up, drink my decaf, and make some sounds. Anybody interested in seeing certain kinds of sounds or anything like that? What are we in the mood for today? That was actually kind of cool. I already forgot how I made all this other shit. I think I'm gonna start off by working on like a metallic texture. Something vocoder would be nice. Like, what do you mean by vocoder? You can do physical modeling for a string. Could you theoretically recreate entire sound of electro guitar? Um, you can get close, but like the thing that makes an instrument what it is nuance, right? And a human never plays the same note exactly the same twice. So there are certain things that you can pull from it, or like if you wanted to pull a single tone, then yes, but for the most part, um, there's also a depth of car plus modeling that you can get into, which I think is really important to remember as well. Like Faceplant can only go so far because it doesn't have a lot of tools for creating feedback. Like you can do it with a delay, but it's very yeah, it's very limited. Whereas if you have something like a modular grid or something like that with the right algorithms, like yeah, you could make something that's pretty convincing. How to use vocoder with bass tones to create interesting bass leads? I mean, really, it's just yeah. Just give me a sec. I know a bad man in the tone. I know a bad man in the city. Believe the whatever. You put it to your brother. Aye, 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 aye. Aye, 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 aye. There we go. Cool if you made a makeshift modal patch with a load of snap heap resonators or something. I've done that plenty of times. Clipping is crazy. It's supposed to sound like that. Yes. It's from this. I'm playing with different distortion curves in order to draw out that crazy ass like white noise sound. It's just a trick that I found to get it um to get it to create these interesting like weird atonal sounds. Which, you know what I mean? I've been trying to figure out these sounds for fucking ever. pretty dope. Yeah, like using these for like 808 style sounds and like making leads out of that is really really useful. And I've been trying to make stuff like this because it provides like a weird instrument that suggests like a melodic movement, but you can't tell what pitch it is. And the benefit behind that is that it feels like it's like halfway in between musical and also being like, well, wait, what? What key is this in? Okay, first up, bass vocoder. Are you in Voodoo? Are you in Bitwig? Hey, T Connect, what's up? Or is it just Connect? There's a color I haven't seen before. Are you a subscriber? Thank you. I didn't know that I still had Twitch subscribers. Tay, got it. I won't forget it. Tay Connect, French word game. Oh, cool. Welcome. Thank you so much for kicking it. Okay, so yeah, I mean, when it comes into bass stuff, I'm actually going to use Serum because this is, if I had to guess, if you're looking into vocoder shit, you're most likely a dubstep person. Sorry for assuming, but this is where most people go for this kind of thing. Let me see if I can remember how to do this, but what we need is just a saw wave like this. Go into the effects. Some of you might have seen this before from AU5, but it's pretty distortion. Then we'll go OTT. Okay, so from here, what we'll do is we'll take that and then we'll go menu, and I think it's render or resample to oscillator B. Yeah. And so if we go into the effects and we turn this off now for a hot sec, and you listen to this, and so now if we were to grab something like bend plus and minus, where is this? We want to right click and go smooth interpolation. And if we do this very slowly, you see where I'm going with this? Serum does resampling inside? Yeah, it does. So what we'll do is we'll turn this back on and then we'll do this a couple more times. So we'll go menu, resample to oscillator B. See what this sounds like without it. Okay, so when we talk about vocoder, a lot of times what this will do is it will bite off of some of that movement here. I for this kind of stuff I usually use the most. It's weird, like the old stuff, people would be like, "Oh, use less bands," but I actually think using more bands for Bitwig, anyways, with higher percentage of this band pass is better. But yeah, you can jump right into it and start to mess with it and get some cool stuff. But I would recommend doing this and having a parallel chain and just listening to this and seeing what it does. Okay, so the other thing about this is that if you notice, the white noise is a carrier, and that has a really big effect over what is going to happen. So with this is a test tone. This is just something that you can send through, like, let's say, like a saw wave or something, right? So you can get cool, like weird sounds like that. Something that I like to do though is instead of using this, you can actually go into something like bass plant and pull up a bass. We'll just do this. And you can send a bass like this into another bass. And this has MIDI through, so if you play a note, it'll play whatever that is, which is pretty awesome. So if you listen to this, my mouse just died. Or rather, my trackpad. Give me one sec. Trackpad. It's like no matter what I do, I cannot get out of fucking lightning cables. No matter what I do. Lightning cables are poo. I don't give a fuck about what they do. I need that USB-C too. Okay. Yeah. So there's a couple different ways to think about this. Like for one, we have the talking vocal bass or whatever. You can also use actual words to speak through this. But for some reason, I'm still hearing just like, and we shouldn't be just hearing that. Yeah. So, okay, now I don't hear anything. What the fuck is going on? So you can use stuff like this as like, I don't know, I'm just going to do like an FP, whatever the fuck that's supposed to be. Something like this that can just play with the formant. And then you can mix it in. You can kind of hear how it's. And it really depends on like what you send into this and also like what does what. But for the most part, when it comes into stuff like Serum, or sorry, when it comes into these kinds of like FM basses and stuff, you usually want to have some kind of vocal filter before. So I'm just going to pull one up. Let's just try this one and see what it does. Maybe make it a little bit slower. And this is where the vocoder really comes alive, because now that it's not just a constant sound, you can move it, you know? It doesn't really do much to the sound in this particular case. Um, but in terms of like using stuff like vocodecs and all that, you really have to use vocoders in stages, because it might give you like a glimpse of something that sounds cool, but then you need to OTT it out and then do it again, and then OTT it out and do it again. But likewise, if you have something instead that's like hold on one second. I like Reese's peanut butter cups. No lies detected. If we were to throw that on this, and then we do this, which is the old school way. We mute this, and then we send the audio receiver to go into phase plant. Sorry, Serum 2, and we want to do post. Multipass out. Then whenever we listen to this, we're going to get different stuff now. See, you're starting to get like different movements and different weird shit out of it. Oh, also this needs to be here. Sorry. So if you have something that's like a pitch bend and all that other stuff, then you can get some interesting movement. And oh, this needs to be like here. Peanut butter cups. I like Reese's peanut butter cups. I like Reese's. And like, it doesn't have to be this, you know, it could be like a sub bass or a square wave or a Reese or whatever. But a lot of times when you throw this through and, you know, you can get some cool like bass movements from this. So if we were to take the same thing and then just throw it through like a saw wave or something that has some middle and upper harmonics, doesn't need to be crazy, but you see how we're getting some like just interesting spectral movement, because really that's what it is just spectral shit. Maybe even throw the multipass after this and see what it does. Ah, that's what I'm looking for. So, I mean, yeah, and like every vocoder that I've used is different. Like, if you're in FL Studio, Vocodex is going to make this like a billion times easier just because of the way that it behaves. But to be honest with you, I typically use vocoder stuff more for drums than anything else. But yeah, if you can get this far with a little bass resample refresh, then you know what I mean, then you're kind of already good to go. We'll go growler refresh. Basic. But yeah, it's not too bad, right? You just run it through and it's like the new, well, AU5 has a tutorial on this, so you can go look it up if you want to figure out how to do more of that. It's a little bit out of my world. Like the way that I would do that stuff, especially with like any kind of Skrillex sound or whatever, is a little bit different. I tend to favor more of, less resampling and more of making vowel shapes. But my sounds also come out different. So for example, like this is my favorite bass that I've made. If you look at this thing and you look at this stuff, not too complicated, but with the right setup, you end up getting sounds like this. And I like those so much more because of just how much more menacing it sounds, you know? This patch is available, alchemy.com, Alchemy's Bass Monsters. But yeah, that's some stuff that I would recommend whenever experimenting with all of that. So I guess in terms of like car plus modeling stuff, we're gonna have to get crafty and do a combination of things, kind of like with what I was doing from before. Actually, I can show you something. Um, I believe it's called metal snare. Maybe I'll just do it. I'll just do it. Bless you. Bless you, honey. Jesus. Woo! Yeah. The feed me cat. Noise. Noise. Delay. Yeah, we can probably just do for that for now. Do for that, do with that. God damn. Doesn't even sound that loud. Well, it maybe it's just that my thing is turned up high, but what am I doing next? Right. Okay. So with this stuff, this is where the fun begins because we're going to go like this and we're going to start to create stuff like this. Now we can throw this into like some convolution. There's an easier way to do this, by the way, but I'm just doing it the way that I know how. I forgot that we needed to do this like twice. There we go. Looks good to me. And this is how you can create physically modeled snares. I have tutorials on this on my for memberships, like master classes on how to actually. I walk you through like the wheres and the hows and the whys and stuff, but yeah. Kind of something like this, I believe. We go through the same thing. I showed my friend Brian this while we were working a gig, which was pretty fun. This is a little bit different, but not really. Oh, I guess I did like multiple things and like key tracked it. Oh, so one delay. Yeah, but I mean, even still, it's very similar. You see how it gives you that resonance? And I think that I was just walking them through how to. I'd say the other one is way better. But duplicating this kind of like so, and setting them to a macro, which is what I should have done. I know a bad man in the tone. I know a bad man in the city. In the country. But being able to fuck with this and change. There we go. And so now what I want to do is I actually want to make this even more dramatic. And so what I've learned is that rather than using a filter here, if we really want that the fundamental to pop, we should use an EQ with the feedback loops of reverbs. Yeah, but they were asking me to do it within phase plant. So maybe with this, I just need to. I'm going to duplicate this and pull it through here, but sometimes it's kind of the finagling work that we have to do with all of that. Oh, I did the wrong one anyways. I was like, what? Where? It needs to be a little, well, a lot slower. Oh, sorry, you guys can't see that. My bad. Help me out there if I'm doing something off screen because I have more real estate than you do. Ah. See how much that pops? And now, as like a final boss thing, we could do a couple of things. We could just do this. Maybe use a transient shaper to try to just pull the sustain off. Can also do something like a multi-pass here and go into an OTT and see if we can pull some of this stuff out. One thing I do want to do though is that. Long attack, long release. And then we can just play with this and figure out how to get the tails to not be as dramatic. Yeah, pretty fun. Can also do a gate, which I don't have any. Like I would do the what's it called? The stereo and stuff after. Yeah, there we go. My only thing about Faceplant is for snares and stuff, I don't really like to use the white noise generator, but I mean it does the job. Like at least as far as building a tone. Like you can get it to be super loud. But I mean, yeah. There you go. So if we take all of those principles principles and we start to think about utilizing that for something else, say like, I don't know, something like this where we maybe have an LFO. Oh. That might help. Bells are the easiest to do. But if we're talking about, you know, similar setup, we can create a complex network of this stuff by utilizing that combination of. I usually just do one whenever I'm making sounds like this, but I'm also going to cheat. User do comb 1. This is a mid-side comb? Oh, it's a left and right channel comb. That's interesting. I'm just going to set this to stereo. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'll grab this. That looks a little more, yeah. Before I move on, something that's pretty useful is we could set this to 88 keys and set this to C1, which is equivalent to C0. Then we can right click on this and go to 88. And that way this will be key tracked. And we can move the fundamental of this over to a C, so somewhere around there. And something that will help with this as well is giving this just a touch of white noise. Okay, cool. So now that we have that, we can yoink, 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 and we can make different shapes on these. Move that over here. What is this big one? That's what she. Never mind. Shut up. I'm just kidding. Duplicate that one. Turn the gain down. Grab a ring mod. Grab a second ring mod. Then on this one, we can do stuff like this. We haven't even done the delays yet, but it's pretty already. now we can grab those delays and reduce the feedback of these significantly. Float around there. Now we could do something like this, which I don't know if this is going to blow my computer up or not, but what Poly does is it makes it per voice. And so now every note that I play is going to have its own instance of what we just built. So, yeah, fingers crossed. We can place it in a physical space. It's pretty cool. And the more that you change this, the more that this is going to impact this as well. So let me set this to 4 voices so that way we can't max that out. You can also do other stuff like this where we set this to be really fast and we change the pitch of this to be like use a simple delay. Remods are also work really well for this. I'm not going to send that through the poly, but
recording to logbook.
Yo, thanks for subscribing, Alan. I appreciate it. But through that, these comb filters and the delays and stuff, we're trying to get as close to creating a Car Plus model engine as possible. But yeah, likewise, it's a lot easier to do this with who was saying it? With Balaz. Balaz? You just have something like this and you go, and then I would actually just prefer to use the grid for this. But what you would do is you would go into a delay. It has to be a long delay for whatever reason within this. I don't know why. Can you stop? Billwig, can you not be on that fuck shit today? Thank you. Go into blend. I'm gonna go boop, boop. And we can go into like, I like push. It's pretty gentle, but it's got a nice curve on it. You got to be careful with this. This will hurt you. And so you can also do stuff like this where we go all pass filter. Throw some noise in here. But yeah, this is one way to have this set up, and then you can just go crazy with effects in here. You can do your ring mod here if you want. Send that into a sine wave. Like so, as carrier. But like I said, you just have to be really mindful about how you do this. Does this have a different mode on it? It does not. But yeah, I mean, I've also done stuff with other metallic snares. Let me see if this is the one I'm looking for. I think it is. Maybe not. There is this, but that's not the same one that I was hoping to find. Let me see if it's in here. Effects layer. No. Feedback snare, maybe. I think this is it. Yeah. So with this little device, you can throw a delay plus in here and use the resonances of a delay and push use an EQ to push the feedback of it upward. And so this can give you some interesting. You just have to be careful with this. Because the more that you push this, I think I've got it in such a way that it's getting rid of a lot of the sound, but maybe it's also because I'm not mixing it hard enough. But this should be like going crazy. But yeah, you can basically have an audio feedback system within Bitwig itself. If you send an audio receiver of a delay out to another audio receiver of a delay, and that'll go back into itself. But once you start pushing up these little resonances with the EQs and stuff, it can get like extremely shrieky very quickly. So there's that. But I've done this and fuck guys, like every possible way that I could imagine. That doesn't mean every way, but every way that I could think of. But I like doing that stuff because it helps me translate, especially in lessons and stuff, because I can't tell you how many people ask me to do all this stuff within like just Ableton or just Serum or whatever, and I have to come up with a clever way to try to implement what I can from it, you know. But yeah, it's super interesting stuff anyways, you know. There's a video that I would recommend you all checking out. I think if you just search how to make realistic snares, it'll pop up. But there's this guy that goes through the basics of Car Plus modeling and physical modeling stuff using delays and whatnot that make it pretty easy to understand. But to be honest with you, like whenever it comes into me making like metallic tones, I think that for the most part, yeah, like if I just pull up Struggle Bus, I'm pretty sure that the snare that I made right here should be here. Yeah. So this, give it a sec. Which I'll probably end up saving this rack anyways, but if I haven't already, but see, it's got all of the right, it has the right blend of metallic. This should be the rack, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that's also firing. And it's just this, I believe. Let me see, is this? Did I make another one? This is the base of it, or like the fundamental of it, but when I was making, maybe when I was making this snare, I did some stuff to it. Probably. Oh, actually, if we look over here towards the end of the bar, which I think is right here. This is a great example. So I just use like another realistic sounding snare or whatever, use some EQ. This vocoder here is just adding noise to the whole thing. But you get some realistic sounding, you know, metal tone. You can use like a hat or any convolution layer really that's kind of short and distort that. as you can see here. I'm using some bit crushing to make it sound a little bit more poppy in the thing or whatever. But yeah, it's yeah. I'm not really sure how I made the other one though, because that's the kick. That's something else. But it has to be a derivative of this of some sort, because this is the only snare that I have in the entire project. Or hold on, this will give me a clue. This might be okay, so I made this in Superior Drummer. That's where that comes in. And that's basically a realistic metal snare anyways. I can show you that if anyone's interested. I don't know, chat's kind of dead, so I don't want to like waste your time, but yeah. Probably not today, but maybe Wednesday or Friday I'll go back and work on a second section for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite sound is this little kazoo. Oh, not that one. It's a little whir, which is it's actually my voice just going, and then for however Infiltrator did this, it turned it into a kazoo. It's perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so when it comes into snare dig, as you can see, I made a fuck ton of snares through Superior Drummer, which are all in the Dominus pack, which is already available on the website. But all of these guys, like these sound to me really good. There is a lot of these guys, so let me see. I'm pretty sure that's what that other snare that we used was. Yep, just cool, fun. Nice metallic punchy things. And then I'm pretty sure that I just took the best ones. Like that one. Come on. Long story short, what I did was I was using both a snare and a hat for this. Because the more that you introduce this over the top, the more that it gives you a little bit more, right? And then on this, I'm playing with the pitch of all of these guys. And then as far as the processing goes, there's a fundamental here. So if you listen to this, it's just a noisy thing, and I've got a few different selections to go through. Sometimes I'll use that. Sometimes I'll use something else. But that's a little bit more of like a rim shot so to speak. And then it's just my typical snare processing stuff that I usually go through. Except I'm doing it on the master instead because I didn't want to jump back and forth. It's a lot easier to go here than it was to do the other thing. Which I have videos on, again, for the masterclass stuff. Those are available on YouTube for the Arcana memberships. But that's how I made all these. And I'm actually thinking, I'm curious, does anyone else have Superior Drummer in any other expansions? Like, I'm curious to know if there's any other stuff that you all got that you liked. Like, I want to get more expansions for this, but it's so fucking expensive. And even though it's a business write-off or a tax write-off, it's still fucking expensive. I guess that's one cool thing about doing the music thing is if you make money, you might as well spend a lot of it on music stuff anyways for a tax write-off, but you don't get everything back, unfortunately. Mitigates it, though. Oh, like, that sounded really good, that first one. So we can go in here and be like, check it out. We've already started on our next new pack. Yay. Boom. And then we got it. And we will always have that snare forever and ever. It's nice and blocky, as God intended. And yeah. So what should we do next? What do you guys think? Sorry, something's in my eye. Chia. We could do some bass design. At this point, I usually just use like, I'll just find a wavetable or something and yeah. Okay. So I'm going to set all these to always retrigger, except for this one. This one I don't care about. Wait. That one I don't care about. This one I do. This is going to be more focused on hanging around the middle. Something kind of like this, maybe. Hmm? Okay. Actually, kind of curious as to why this, for the most part, ends up wrecking the sound because it's not really doing it's not doing that much. I think it usually sounds better without it, to be honest. Okay. Okay. So for this, I Mhm. I think that there should be some filtering. Because that helps, like, balance this stuff out. Maybe just do the whole thing. Just get this McMuffin ass sounding bass in here. Yo, Hidden, what's up, dude? Hey, what's up? We've just been doing sound design today for the most part, but we covered a lot of physical modeling stuff. What else did we do? Some vocoder stuff earlier. Pretty fun. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty sick. Yeah, it's really hard not to overcook the low end whenever I'm doing this stuff. And it usually takes me like, it's like every other one that I do sounds good or whatever, but it's still fun to practice just to try to get it down. Um, and that's usually when I'm going for a very specific kind of bass sound, but it's interesting to work on the resampling process in general just to try to cook audio and the filtering movement into it and then be like, okay, what can we get to be a little bit different, or what can we utilize to make it into something else that's cool. But the other thing that I've been thinking about is actually using this stuff um for creating other like instruments as well. So maybe just like, wait, does this have to be in loop mode? No. Do something like this. And then go into the same processing as like, so maybe trying to, turn it into something like that. I'm scared. For good reason. It's crazy. It's actually pretty cool. It's pretty dope. Sick. Does anybody else have anything that you all would like to see? That's so dope. Hmm. I know. Yeah, just cool shit like that that you can use as like percussive leads is where my head's been at lately with making stuff. Obviously, it sounds just dingy as fuck, but having some other kind of whatever that's supposed to mean, some different stuff other than a sine wave is pretty fun. I swear to God, Ian will make anything except for chord progressions. What? No, I'm saying that for myself. I can make chords, I just don't. You guys never see this one coming. Yeah. You silly goose. What else do you guys want to do? Or do you all have any other things that you'd be interested in exploring sound design wise? What's up, Steg? I'm just fucking around. I did a bunch of sounds and now I'm asking chat what we should do next. Yeah, I've got a different, kind of a different way about how I do it, but um, I mean, I have this pack Aberrant Mech that I made like 6 years ago that I utilized for that, or that I did a lot of those tricks with. Um, that's probably where the other guy, now that I think about it, was coming in with the vocoder stuff. But we did some vocoder things earlier today that didn't necessarily have the transformer sound, but had a lot of vocoded things. Um, one one thing that Virtual Riot didn't cover that I feel like he should have is the the engine sounds. And I'll show you here in a second, but I think it's this one. Got a lot of stuff from this way back in the day. So if you just do this, I don't think this is it, but let me see if it's this one. I know that there's a ring mod on here. There it is. But yeah, changing the ring mod. I should have some other ones. Transformer. Yeah. Things like that, you know, or you can even use like the auto pan where it slows down or whatever, but certain stuff like that is really good for making those kinds of things. But Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I don't remember what he did exactly, but I would just make some kind of interesting generator. The wavetable or something, whatever. Do like some noise FM to it at certain places and certain intervals. Sync this to a bar. Set this to always retrigger. We'll go here, here. Grab another wavetable, one that's a more simple waveform. Like so. Before I go any further, I'm going to grab another random here. Set this to downward. Always retrigger. There we go. I can close that. And now whatever it is that I make on this, I can start to send through different things that would be interesting. So for one, we could go into the pitch and go to 24. Probably start stacking things like delays, but shorter ones, because if it goes too far, it starts clipping the signal, which sounds really fucking annoying. But then we can do some other ones here where we turn that down. Pull that full circle. Let's do another one here. Do another dual delay where we'll set this to sync and change that up. Set some shaper table things on here where we'll just turn this off. We'll do another one that's like very subtle in order to create some of those same things that I was just showing you. There we go. I'm just going to set that to down. And then with those clanks and stuff, we can utilize certain things like filters in order to frequency shifter. I will send it through some OTTs, kind of like so. I'm going to back off of the high end by quite a bit. So, different sounds like that create those cool like metallic sounds or whatever are what I would use to start layering certain, you know what I mean, certain parts of the sound. Probably ring mod as well. That's pretty cool. Now, for some reason, this is just like going ham. I think what I'll do is just this. So when we send this into a vocoder now, I want this to be more punchy. So when you start taking sounds and stuff like this, you know, especially when you start stretching them out, dispersion sounds to me like dispersion. Yeah, it does for sure. And then like when it comes into the layering part, you know, it's just creating like impacts and stuff. Camera's blocking. Bitwig, when are you getting out of the fucking beta? Because you know, and having like little blips and sounds like this. I'm holding shift. God damn it. You know, but just taking like little cybernetic sounds like this and, you know, layering it together. What? You know, you can create like cool little tech things like that, but that's pretty much how I would do it. And then just I know, right? It's been a while since I made something like that. You can also like introduce things like reversers and stuff that are pretty fun because if you set it to be kind of slow like this, so you go like one thing we can do is give it like some kind of transient, I think would be really good. You can also do fun stuff like this and be careful with it. Like this is going to be fucking insane. Ooh. But and sometimes like just having a delay to play with here, kind of like so. So sick. And then obviously like messing around with the effects at the end of the chain is very helpful because like or sorry, like in the midst of the chain because sometimes the different combinations that you can get provide very different results, you know. But yeah, I mean as far as like making like metallic clanky sounds and whatnot, you can also someone said it, but you don't have to use the vocoder. You can also use like the disperser and stuff to get the cool like lasery, you know, and like bassy, weird, muddy sounds or whatever. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, that's how I would go about that. But this is something that I covered way back in 2020. I mean, like I said, the Aberrant Mech Pack had all kinds of glitchy textures and stuff within it. And a lot of the Eternum stuff from like way back when, like let's see, Eternum 3, hybrid bases, I don't know, something like this. They all had these generators in them. Granted, the generators are all supposed to sound different, so they're not necessarily going to sound like mechanical things, but I remember I had one, it was called Steel Leviathan. Yeah. This one was pretty interesting. I also had some other ones called computer generator, I think. This one is a little bit more techy. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how I got that cool water texture. Maybe it's from the phaser, but I mean, if you were to look at this, these patches are doubled for whatever reason. I don't know why it does that, but look at this. Look at how many of these I've made. What's this one? Oh, this was the aberrant mech one for sure. I recognize it immediately. Oh wait, no, it's not. There's no way because this has the filter or the filter table on it. I don't remember which one it was. Pretty cool. This is pretty cool. This reads more as like little tiny things happening as opposed to like big transformer stuff. But this was the robot dies in a force generator. Some cool stuff in there though, for sure. And at this point, I was just doing anything, you know, and that's really how I started learning how to do a lot of the stuff that I do now. I was just being like, all right, whatever. And then, you know what I'm saying? Just being like, cool. Maybe some other stuff like this. Making sure that this is on. And then just doing this and being like, okay, let's do one more that will automate this. Set this to retrigger. Set this to 0. And then just like let it do its thing. And then I usually don't make something unique for every single parameter, but I try to do like 4 or 5. And then at some point I'll stop making new ones, but I'll just do this. Then maybe I'll get tired of using the same ones and I'll do something like this. Oh God, maybe not that much. Maybe like there. You do have to be kind of mindful about what it is that you apply. So for example, like you don't want to grab a frequency shifter and throw that all the way from the lowest to the highest, because like you're gonna, that's like the fastest way to hurting your ears. But at the same time, if you can like start with a wide range and dwindle it down, then you can get into a position to where it's not so bad. So for example, like with this, I made sure to set this only to unipolar because I didn't want this to get any louder. You know, those are the kinds of things that you'll learn to be mindful about. I'll set a maximum of this. Same thing with ring mods. If you make them super high, then a lot of times they'll get to be like really fucking annoying and crazy. Like you don't want to set something that's going to turn the feedback up to 100%. But those are just like, I don't want to say common, but guidelines to try to avoid creating something that's going to be insanely unpleasant. And if you are going to do that and you're just going to say, fuck it, I'm going to send it, like make sure that you at least turn everything down. That's like extremely important. Just do that. Do that. Throw an OTT on it. Don't forget to put the multiband, as Whittler would say. Oh, one more thing, of course. I'm going to set this to 24. Usually 24 is like the sweet spot that I try to keep this around, but now that we have that, I don't know what this is going to sound like, but let's keep going and start to add some harmonics to it. I'm going to do another one here that's going to do this. We'll do this. Set this to this guy as well. Grab some of this other stuff, kind of like this, and start changing the harmonic. Grab something else, change the wavetable. You know, like get creative. Like that's why I love how this ecosystem is perfect for this kind of stuff, because it's just like, what can I automate? What can I modulate? Oh, I can do that? Okay, well let me do that. And then if something just isn't working, which it happens, like maybe the limiter isn't the best idea, you know, we can either back off of it. Same thing with this. So we can back off of this just a bit and then start trying to change other stuff about it, you know? Okay, so this was an example that I think is a really good point. That's in bipolar mode. I don't want that to go louder. I want the threshold to only go down. Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And like once you start to get a general vibe of how this stuff goes, then you can start to become more intentional with how you want it to be. So for example, if you want this to maintain like a techiness to it, you probably don't want to add long reverb tails, or if you do, you want to gate it in a rhythmic way, you know? And so it helps you kind of learn to put intention into the style of sound that you want. But what this does not do is it doesn't teach you necessarily how to make specific sounds. It just teaches you about relationships of effects. And so there is this give and trade to that. And this was something that I was missing a lot of fundamentals when I started doing this stuff. Well, that's not entirely true. I had fundamentals over certain things, but there were things that I needed other people to help show me. Otherwise, I probably never would have figured it out, I think is the best way to say that. Um, but these are fun to do. And then, like, once you understand this concept, like, do it in the grid, do it in Beam, do it in Drambo, do it in whatever infiltrator, whatever you got, because it's the spirit of the experimentation as opposed to like, oh, I got to get this specific kind of sound, you know? I don't know what this is going to do, but hopefully it's not going to hurt us. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty dope. And all this texture and stuff, you know, can just be used in, well, really whatever you want, but works great for intros or, you know, and the other thing that is like kind of a give and take is like I'm never gonna remake that sound. You know, once I do this, then it's like, all right, it came and it went. That's why recording is so important. Started doing MMA again. Yeah, rolling in particular is very exhausting, especially if you don't relax. But yeah, I would say like the biggest pitfall of doing this stuff is like you really don't want to rely on it unless if like your whole shebang is IDM and like experimental glitch sounds, you know. I like to use this stuff for little tiny textures or background sounds, I think is the best way. Background noises or background texture. But it's very difficult to take something out of this and like make it the focal point of a track, whereas doing the other stuff with the clanks and whatnot are a little bit more intentional because they're repeatable, and you can modify that as the instrument, you know. Whereas like that was actually kind of cool, but you know what I mean. It's a coin toss with you getting something, and like I don't know. I guess I could take some of that stuff. It's interesting, but even still, like I said, it's very hard sometimes to get anything that you're like, oh, okay, this speaks to me, because it's still like there's no musicality in it yet. You have to be like very apt to being like, okay, we'll change that into a pad or something, you know, or with this like a you know, like you could do something like that, like let me move this out of the way. Actually, that might be cool. And start trying to phrase it or whatever, but okay, that would be like here. So like yeah, you could, you know, you could do something like that and then just like throw an 808 over it or whatever. You know, whatever. But it's sometimes it's still hard to be like, okay, this is like really really compelling. But I've been trying to do more of this stuff on the modular, or on not on the modular, but on hardware. These sounds are so interesting on their own. They don't need any musicality. I regularly listen to only glitches for hours in sessions. Okay, but like that's you. That is you. And we've talked about the musicality thing, you know. It's if you're just trying to like go absolutely fucking camera like bonkers with experimental sounds and whatever, like yeah, okay, but at a certain point, if you want to maintain the listener's attention, like you have to find something that people can relate to. It's otherwise like they're going to become disinterested, uninterested. They're going to lose interest. And for the kind of music that I make, there needs to be a happy medium in between, you know? If I'm just going to make like fucking noise music, like I've been there, done that, and that's there is a thing for that, but I'm not satisfied with it personally. I don't think it's enough. You leaving? I love you too, baby. Yeah, hold on. Let me say bye. Hold on, my partner's leaving. Let me say bye to her. You too, man. Good day. Let me know how your game goes, okay? I will. I'm glad you're feeling better. You're gonna be at People's? Mm-hmm. I might stop by on the way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hero.
Anyone else have a splitting headache? No. If you have a splitting headache, you should probably drink water. Got me a little fun size Butterfinger. Cool. Drink water, dude. Got a headache? Drink water. That's the first thing you should go to. If you're not feeling good, drink water. Did you just come back from class? Like, if you just came back from like a hard workout and you come home and you get a headache, chances are you're dehydrated and you need to eat something and drink water. I came back around 9, but passed out and just woke up. But did you eat something and drink water when you got home, or did you just go straight to bed? Maybe I'm just assuming that like you would know about this kind of stuff, but like, yo, if you're gonna do like hardcore athletics, you really need to make sure that you eat something within like 45 minutes of a really hard workout, and you should be hydrating before and after. 3 bottles of water and a steak. Oh, maybe it's something else then. It could also just be like your body isn't used to it, or maybe you were rolling with someone and they're sick, or. But I mean, yeah, like if you're going to train hard, then you need to put equal, if not even more, emphasis in recovery. I would know. I'm a circus performer. Was a circus performer. I would know. I used to run a martial arts school. um, but yeah, you have to really stay on top of that kind of stuff. I think that the prehab, not rehab, but prehab is even more important than the training because that's what really keeps you safe. Was there anything else that you all wanted to cover? Lifting a growler, any calories and water? I feel like I'm dying. Yeah, and sleep. 100%. Man, speaking of, I found this new exercise that's like a modification of leg lifts where you're laying on your back and you cross your legs and you're pulling your knees to your chest as if you're doing like leg lifts and stuff, but you're throwing your knees to your head as if you're doing a backflip, which I don't imagine most of you, if any of you, have ever done a backflip before, but for someone like me, that's what it feels like. Sorry, not trying to boast or anything, but it's just the sensation of it. But my lower abs have been fucking on fire, and they're becoming more defined. And then like I've always had the V, but it's getting to be more prominent. This is the best time for me to advertise my OnlyFans for all of you ladies and ladies and I don't know, whatever. No, that's not really what I'm gonna do. But this channel's cooked. It's over. It's lived out its lifespan. Nobody cares about music anymore. So, but yeah, it's a really good exercise. I would recommend people try it. You just need to make sure that you stretch your hip flexor first because you can pull it, and then you're out for doing anything fun for like a week or two, and that's really fucking annoying. But yeah. What else? Is there anything else that you guys want to see me do, or anything that you want to experiment with, or things that you all want to talk about? I'm chilling for, let's see, I've been live for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I have plenty of time to do whatever. I just don't really know what to do. I'm trying not to make myself write something new every day. Like I already wrote something that I enjoy, and I'll probably finish it later in the week. But yeah, like, what's up? What do you guys want to do? What are we down for? I swear to God, if you say anything, fucking, I'm gonna murder a toaster or something. More glitches. But I did 2 hours of glitches. I don't want to glitch anymore. I already did glitching. I did that before you came in with Bitwig devices. Someone called me. Oh, I'm a minute behind. Can we do swing? Like drums? I'm struggling with getting a good groove. Antonio? Do you remember what I said on Saturday? I just got here like half an hour ago. Yeah, it was just the the feedback stuff. Um, Dog, I've spent hours with you over this. Like, what's the problem? You said, am I rushing or dragging? Then hit me. What? I, I haven't hit a person since last October. Oh, whiplash. No, I haven't punched a person since October, and that's when I went to my instructor seminar. Maybe something similar to Alexander Panos. Happy New Year, by the way. Late, but whatever. Yeah, I laughed my ass off. I mean, what can you be more specific? I haven't listened to something from Alexander in a really long time. Chords or something? Hmm. What kind of chords? Something more freeform without drums? Oh, like incidental writing? I have a course on that. I don't know if you'll have watched that or not. But then there's just boom nap. What is it called? What are those beats called that are like drumless hip hop? They're just literally like samples repitched on loop. Beat acapella. Is that what it's called? Beat acapella? Not looking for an instrument, but a beat acapella? Oh, it's believable. Do you just use the F scale that consists, or is there other notes? Well, this is C minor or C sharp minor or D flat minor. I just pick a key and then I usually know what to do. Does Buick have the scale only mode, or should I just learn it from Google? You should just learn them anyways. There's no reason not to. It's not that hard. Well, actually, you don't even need to learn them. You just need to learn how to find a major and minor scale. You could always get a controller too. Like, I've got the Hapax in front of me, just chilling. So new drum pack, does it matter what scale I use the kicks, or are they usually an F or something? They're all different notes. I didn't record them out because they're all kind of like, they don't fall on a fundamental. Most of them are just like boop, and have a pitch bend. I just don't know. I don't remember what pitch they start from. But none of them have like a resting fundamental where like after the kick it's leaving any like tail. At least not most of them, so I didn't bother labeling them. Like the best way to do something evil, I think, evil sounding, and I think that this is like a mishap of the definition of what that is and what that applies to is so suggestive. Wow, so suggestive. Um, for example, like you can't rule out the idea of interpretation, you know. But if you really want to make something scary, you know, not necessarily. I mean, that's what most bass songs are written in, but Phrygian can also sound super happy. Um, Semitone movements. So, you know, like one semitone movements is really like one of the most impactful things, but clusters as well. You know, clusters that are not necessarily in key, but just a group of notes. So something that's like those kinds of things sound very evil. You know, that's a very what's it called? A very useful trick. Tritone. Yeah, just two notes together, right? Or which is leading into a cluster. But you can have a chord progression that does something like that. So you can do something that's like, and then it becomes like weird and mysterious. And then also like one of the most like usually impactful kinds of motions that you can apply is going from a major key to a minor key. So if you're like, and then you go, you know, that's like a really common thing. But also in between writing chord progressions, if you can look at chord extensions, because like there's really only like what 4 or 5 different chord variations. Um, I'm saying chord extensions. I wanted to say chord variations. This is why I don't talk about theory on my channel. But you have suspended, augmented, dominant, sevenths, suspended, augmented, sevenths, diminished. I think those are the main ones. Augmented, suspended, dominant, diminished. Right? Or is it just four? Does the seventh chord not even count because that's just how many notes you play? But I think that those are the four variations, and they all have um, specific pattern placements in order to change. Yeah. So there's only four. Sorry, before anybody else answers, there's only four, and those are usually variations of seventh chords. But like, if you have a seventh minor chord and you change one note, then it becomes a variation usually. So, for example, if you were to do something like this, hold on, let me see where we're at here, and let me pull this up. If you look at the keyboard, sorry. Okay. You see how this is spaced evenly like this? If you were to do this where you go like that, or maybe it's here, then this becomes a suspended chord. I believe that if you do something like this, where you start here and then you take the last one, that becomes like, I don't remember which one it is, but it's like, that's one of the different ones. You know what I mean? If you do something like this to where you move this up, that's a different chord. So, like, though, but they're all just variations of this. Sorry, they're just variations of whatever you start with. And the only difference is that if it's like this, say you're playing A minor or whatever, C major, and then you do this, this changes it to C minor. Because you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, half step. 4, 5, and 6 are half steps. 7, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 5 and 6 and 2 and 3 are half steps. So if you have like any scale, right? Let's say I'm going to start from G. We go full step over to A, half step. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, have this. 4, 5, 6. And then it will go back to C. I can't play it on the keyboard, but that's also C minor. That's why circle of fifths are important, because you're never playing one scale at one time. And so you can use that to bridge and use like what's called borrowed chords a lot, where and I don't ever think about this shit, by the way. I just like have learned it and have it in the knowledge pool. I'm usually just like, all right, let me just start with I'm going to start with fucking F minor, you know? Right? This is an F minor key, or F minor chord. And then I'll take that and be like, okay, where do I want this to go? Maybe to C, you know, or I'll just like write with one note at a time. Like, I think melody stacking is like the ultimate hack, because then you don't have to worry about any of this shit. You can just be like, all right, I'm going to use a melody. It's going to be my bass line, or it's going to be, you know, whatever. So singing something out is incredibly helpful, but we can be like, do, do, right? Boom, 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 boom. You know, boom, 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 dun. Maybe we'll extend it. Dun, dun, dun. Do, do, do. Okay, so now we have a melody here. Just like add notes. Okay, this one doesn't work, but that's all right. And you just add more to it. And if you're like, yo, I can't come up with anything, then stack them. And then what you can do is shit like this to where you can do what's called inversions. And you can create different variations of this just by changing some of the octaves of the notes. And obviously this sounds insane, but it's still harmonically in key. Now, if I was going to do this with something that was maybe a little less like Egyptian sounding, and you did something like do, 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 even something like this, maybe make it a little bit slower. And then what you can do is start to add little details like this. So, you know, and then one other thing that's like super helpful is you can do this and add a fifth, which is 7 semitones, to your uh chords. Or a third. Or an octave. Doesn't matter. Did you say this one scale or you're borrowing notes? I'm saying that you can. Like if you wanted to modify the chord, let's say, you could do this. I'm actually going to make it a little more obvious. And this is usually most useful in changing or getting ready to move into a different scale. So if you change the key, the last note by 1 semitone, like this, that do do, then when you move this, you can, what was that note? You can bridge into a different scale. Kind of like this. Yeah, kind of like a leading tone, right? It bridges into another scale. But when you do borrowed chords, like you can find another scale that has some of the same notes. So like let's say, well, it could be really anything, but you can take like one chord out of the entire thing and make this into a completely separate chord of anything and then bring it back. So you could do stuff like, as long as it sounds good. So now you've got, it's actually very strange. But the theory applies. It's actually kind of cool. This would probably kind of float. This probably transformed itself into some kind of Mixolydian variation because it's a little more ambiguous and doesn't have a clear um it doesn't have a very clear emotion other than it's mysterious, you know? And that's why sometimes people play a lot of shit in Mixolydian is because it there's a lot of ambiguity into it. But yeah, I think it's cool. We can save that to the arranger library and we'll call it Pixie Sticks or something. But a lot of times, whenever I'm trying to come up with chord progressions and stuff, like it just depends on what kind of. I usually just start with the melody, and then you also have something like voice leading, which is really fun. There's Nate and I feel like have had a talk about this, but like if you have something that is like, okay, here's the melody, do so something like this. Let's do this. This melody is going here. The second melody, I think, also moves only in semitones, right? Or something like that. But the second melody is going to have a very clear path about where this is going. Then the third one, But rather than the way that I understood it was rather than trying to like make a chord, I am just making a melody on a melody on a melody. And that way you don't have to worry so much about like what this is and what this is supposed to be and what these are supposed to be. Like it doesn't always work, but it's very nice in my opinion, and it takes away a lot of the pressure of trying to like put a bunch of notes together at once. And it becomes a little bit more melodic as well because you can do more intricate shit with it. Like this, there's one consistent sustained tone over this, but there's a whole melody over whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. So like yeah, it's like a very Bach thing. But you can see how much more complicated like these chords are becoming. But maybe voice leading is the one where it's like each note moves um, one semitone into a particular direction or something like that. I don't know. Somebody remind me because I've already forgotten what it means. But anytime I think of voice leading, I think about writing like this. Maybe we could just look it up together. It's the art of connecting chords smoothly by treating each note in a chord as an individual linear melodic line or voice. Okay, so it was close. It focuses on moving voices by the smallest possible interval, stepwise or common tones, to create a cohesive, singable, and harmonious progression. So it's kind of like that, but there's a constraint over how far each let's say voice in the chord can move. Holding a note over from one chord to the next if it exists in both, contrary motion, having the bass move in the opposite direction of the upper voices to avoid forbidden and parallel intervals like fifths and octaves. Yeah, so it looks like there's a couple of like techniques to it. It's not just like one thing, but um I think that more importantly, rather than like trying to understand those boundaries, just just stack melodies, dude. If you're having trouble with chords, just stack melodies. You know, and if it's supposed to be like scary, then make the main melody this. Or and then pick something on the scale. Get creative with it. So like something like this. parallel fifths were always considered mistakes in music school. So like we've used this, which is right. But instead of just having us just do like this changes the rhythm and changes the cadence of how it's expressed. And then likewise what you can do is um instead of writing a melody to a chord, you can write a chord from a melody. Because you could literally do this. You know, just something like that you can start to harmonize with. But the chord is there, and that's the most important part. And then you can go into, you know, do I not have one? Really? Wait. Whatever, I'll find something. You know what I mean? And then there you go. And it's still like it gives this permission. No, I'd probably use it for the intro, you know? Which I'm not going to do that, but yeah, like it's okay. First of all, stop fucking making suggestions on this when I'm trying to teach you a concept. Second of all, you can do your own fucking thing whenever you write on your own stuff when you can figure out how to make a melody or a chord. But when I'm trying to teach you something, it's not helpful to try to start telling me about stuff that you're going to do to my stuff or that you would do to my stuff when it misses the concept of what it is that I'm trying to teach you. Does that make sense? Like, ugh, you, you. I am done teaching theory. That's all you get. Figure it out yourself. Had to be a staple in use. I don't know. Figure it out. Figure it out. No, it's not even that. It's like I feel like there's a reason why like I'll explain something to you and then 3 days later you ask me to explain it again. And it's because there's something that like you're whatever it is of where your focus is of what you're paying attention to, it's not in the place that it needs to be. Does that make sense? That's the thing. That's the thing that you're missing is that you're hyper focused on some part of whatever it is that I'm trying to give to you. And then when you ask me to explain it again, you miss the main concept. Like you get one little detail about it, which is good. I'd rather you get something than nothing. But when it comes into the big picture of stuff, like that's the part that doesn't register with you. And that's why I get frustrated because I spend a lot of time trying to teach this to you specifically. And that shit drives me crazy. So I'll say the next time that you ask about this again, before you ask about it again, go watch this video like 50 times. You get what I'm saying? Like go study it. Don't just ask me after 3 days. Go study it. Study the fuck out of it. Do your research on like what other people have to say that are a lot more eloquent than I am and a lot more educated in the theory aspect of stuff. And then we can come back and have a conversation. But we can't move on and I have to revisit things that I would normally charge for in a lesson for stuff that um yeah, it's like what I was talking about earlier, where it feels like there's instances where I'm like, yo, the sky is blue. And then 3 days later, you're like, yo, what color is the sky? You, you know what I'm saying? That shit drives me crazy. It feels like I'm not being listened to. By all means, part of like, you have to realize too that the frustration comes from me wanting you to get it, from me wanting you to understand what's going on. But it makes it hard to communicate because it's like, all right, well, why did I just spend all this time explaining this shit? You know? Anyway, does anybody else have any questions or anything else that you want to explore? I still have a little bit of time left. So I don't know. What do you guys, let me ask you something. What are you guys doing in your music right now? Like, tell me something cool and fun that you're exploring. Like, what are you guys like really fucking into right now in your music that you're just like, yo, this just makes me really excited? Yeah, I get that too, but that's why I'm giving you that piece of advice of like put the time in. Put the time in to study it. Don't just sit on it for 2 days and expect to get it. Like this stuff takes years. And even still, like I'm still learning about things, you know? Generative grid patches. Tendril, I feel like you've been doing generative grid patches since we met or since you've been part of the channel. I mean, is there something about the generative patches that you're doing that are different or is it just that's your thing? I will say specifically, since you switched to Bitwig, the generative grid patches have been your thing. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, for me, it's like I like to have a healthy balance of some stuff that's generative, but it comes to me way later. Like I try to have something that's very intentional first. And like once I have a general idea of like let's say like a baseline phrase or something, then I'll go back and I'll start doing generative synthesis to start building everything else around. But I find that it works better for me to do it after I have something that's contextual. Excuse me. Oh, really? I thought you were always like an IDM guy, like a glitch, like a glitch dude. I mean, I mean, you used to send a lot of stuff to me for feedback whenever I was doing feedback streams, and everything that I remember, I think that we've had the conversation of, yeah, it's really cool, but I wish it had something like, I wish it had some kind of musicality to it. And you were like, nah, man, it's my style. I don't do that. And I'm like, all right, fair. But yeah, I feel like generative and like atonality and glitch stuff has always been the forefront of what I know from your music. I know most of your guys' music, most of it, most of you, anyway. Anyone else? While we're having this conversation, what are you guys doing? That's cool. I like, and while we're on the subject, I like the grid. There's certain things that I like about the grid. You know, I've built some really cool devices in it, but the fact that it doesn't have like fucking simple shit like a compressor, you know, or actual dedicated reverb or dedicated EQs or like all of the staples that you normally have within um I talked to Chi about this a while ago and I haven't spoken to him in a very long time, but I think that he when I brought this to his attention, he was on the sentiment of like he's like, "Yo, like why do you want that stuff? It takes away the entire point of the grid." And for me personally, I disagree. And it's not because um it's not because I necessarily think that it's too hard, although I do think that it's extremely challenging. There are certain things about it that that I will admit are probably over my head. But at the same time, like, because you can't use all of the regular built in native devices, you also can't save your racks. You can't save your patches. You know what I mean? Reincorporating hip hop style grooves in the glitchy and more experimental electronic sound design, which I'm relatively new to the grand scheme of things. I mean, it doesn't change. Like once you if you make something glitchy and you can like hear it as a hook, it's the same shit. It just becomes modernized hip hop. You know, you can add it in the device. You can, but you can't place it anywhere in the chain. That's my problem. You know what I mean? Like you can't put it in between something, something, something within the chain, or you have to make another effects grid to link them. That's my gripe because that shit doesn't make any sense. Like I, the Bitwig modular workflow is so much more streamlined for the kind of like stuff that I like to make that the grid starts making less and less sense more and more. You know what I mean? Like sure, I will take the time to learn to build the components of a compressor or whatever, but once I have that, if it's in an effects patch and I want it to be in a polygrid patch, I have to copy everything, cut it, move it over to the other patch, and then try to paste it and hope that it's going to like be placed in the right spot. But then if you've got like multiple compressors and like all this other shit, it you know what I mean? Like it gets very cluttered and it gets very messy. I think that the point of the grid is to get extremely experimental with things, but there are certain components that um you know work in a certain way that I would want to have incorporated, you know. it should like expand. And for the most part, it sounds like it's fucking crazy and stuff, but the thing about it is most modular devices have that stuff anyways, right? Like modular like Eurorack compressors, Eurorack distortion, Eurorack EQs. All of those things are like pretty common in a modular environment. Am I wrong? Like everything. And if not, there's a pedal for it. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, all right, well, fuck. What are we doing? I think that like and also the other thing is that the grid has been out for what? I'd say 5 years, 5, 6 years. Because I think it came out in 2020 or was it 2019 when Bitwig 3 came out? It was either 2019 or 2020. I can't remember. But the stuff that they add to it, they don't work on the workflow of it. They don't work on improving and streamlining those kinds of things. Um, why is there no color picker for devices? You only get like 10 different colors. And it's like, what? Just give us a color wheel, or at least give us like the drop thing. Um, it's also weird that you can do that in certain things. So like you can do it within Polygrid, right? Like I can open this up and change the color of this to any of these colors, right? But I can't do it with this stuff or even with like first party devices. All right, I'm going to try to avoid getting into a Bitwig complaint situation here, but yeah, there's just certain things about it that I'm like this makes no sense to me. And unfortunately, I don't think that it ever will make sense to me because the guy that's it's one guy that's doing all the creative decisions, I think, or like doing the design UI stuff and like implementing features and all that. He's doing his own thing. And I think that Bitwig is just kind of in this position where they're like, all right, do your own thing. You know, I think that there's so much that he got right. I don't actually know who it is, but there's so much that he got right. And I fucking love this DAW more than any DAW I've ever used. 100%. But there's just some of those quirks that I'm like, I don't know. I almost was considering like not using Bitwig anymore if they didn't keep the flying automation is what they call it. Being able to touch a parameter and then opening this up and then being able to adjust it accordingly with whatever that's supposed to be. That was almost a deal breaker for me. I was like, I don't know about this, guys. And thankfully they reverted or they gave you the option, which is even better because some people actually like the automation mode. I can't fucking stand it. I don't like having to toggle between automation and uh, excuse me, having to toggle between automation and like working with an audio and stuff. Can't have everything. Well, of course, but when they change something that was like fundamental towards the workflow, like that's where it becomes bothersome, you know? That's where it's like, whoa, 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 what the fuck? Stop. Don't, no, please, please don't do that. No, God, no, why? Do most people who interact with the channel use Bitwig? It's either one or the other, Ableton or Bitwig. That's kind of, I mean, I still pull up Ableton once in a while, but I don't, I don't like to use it as much these days. I find Bitwig to be a much more enjoyable experience, personally. Yeah, I feel you. Everyone has a different workflow. Yeah. And I do like that they are catering towards being like, okay, well, here's a middle ground. Like we're introducing this feature. We understand that some of you don't like it, so here's the old one, but it's a little bit different, but not so different that it makes me have to rethink the way that I do things, you know? Yeah, actually, 100%. That would be that and the modular devices of like everything in Bitwig is modular, like can have an LFO or, you know, multi-stage envelope generator or all of that, like even third-party devices is really some of the biggest high points of the DAW. And Ableton can technically do that too. It's just way less integrated and like way less streamlined. And it's interesting because I don't actually use that stuff as much as I used to anymore. But when I do, it's really convenient to have, you know, like there are these guys that are baked in. Actually, that's not true. When it comes into drum design, yeah, I lied. Modulators are built into everything because I use mostly first party devices. And it's just so nice to have them baked in and turned off that I can just turn them on and then be like, okay, I want my little snare to do like the type thing and I don't have to fuck with it. It's perfect. But the audio editing in particular, being able to edit multiple audio clips at once, hybrid tracks, clip audio event editing, so editing audio within a clip and being able to like, it's almost like every audio clip has its own timeline. You can put anything in it, you know. The clip launcher is a lot more flexible. Like those are definitely the main things that, oh, and MIDI through, shit. MIDI through is so nice. Not having to route stuff, you just like, oh, does it accept MIDI? Yes. It'll go all the way through to anything and trigger anything that does a MIDI note. And I'm like, great. That's incredible. Yeah, like I really can't see myself, even if I wanted to, I'm pretty stuck with Bitwig. And it's like I can do like 80% of everything in any other apparatus. Like even with the modular thing, I can do 80% of what I need to do to make a beat or to, you know, come up with a composition just on the hardware. However, that last 20% is the difference between what I feel makes my music like good to music that I'm satisfied with. Press 2 for time selection tool. You don't have to. You can just turn it on to be adaptive, which they turn it off, but you can save it as a thing. But if you have pointer tool supports time selection, then this will automatically adjust for you. It would also be cool if there was a way to like toggle this, like a thing like, I don't know, maybe I hit control on my keyboard and I can just toggle or cycle through these things. That would be pretty nice as well. Because that way you can just hit one button a bunch of times and be like, all right, I want this one. My favorite genre outside of halftime? I don't know, probably drum and bass. Yeah, for sure. Um, I mean, most of the genres that I make are halftime, hip hop, drum and bass, IDM. Like I have other songs and other genres. Like I do have like garage and or garage depending on who you ask. And ambient or I've got that cool mid-tempo track. Like that was fun, but as far as like what I'm listening to all the time, it's usually either halftime or drum and bass. I also, you know what? I also listen to a lot of video game music now that I think about it, which that's kind of a hard thing to pin, but there's so many different genres within that. But like, look, I have the Silk Song soundtrack. Um, let's see, this is the Blasphemous 1 and 2 soundtrack. This is the Tunic soundtrack. This is Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors, Gravity Circuit, Dead Cells. I've got like all this other stuff like Donkey Kong Country, Sonic, Metroid, Mega Man, Silent Hill, Castlevania, duh, Metal Gear Solid, Chrono Cross. What is this? Metroid. Yeah, lots of Donkey Kong stuff. Like Donkey Kong Country 2 was like, oh my god. What is this? Metal Gear Solid. Pokemon? Pokken specifically. Zelda. Xenoblade 2 had an incredible soundtrack. Koji Kondo. Anything Nintendo from Koji Kondo. That dude's a G. What else we got here? Yeah, lots of Zelda here. Xenoblade, Sonic the Hedgehog, Castlevania, Super Castlevania, Sonic the Hedgehog, Michiru Yamane, Castlevania, Bloodstained, Sonic CD, Mega Man X. Rezo, Bloodborne, Splatoon 2, Sonic Advance. Yeah. Mega Man Network Transmission. Oh my god, you guys, I fucking love this soundtrack so much. It's such a good soundtrack. Super Mario World, Sonic R, Living in the City, Can You Feel the Sunshine? Shit, you guys, fuck, you guys don't know about that. You guys know that you don't know shit about that. Does it though? I don't really think that it does. Ergies, this is a hidden gem. I bet most of you have never even heard of that game. Sonic 3D Blast, Sonic Mania Plus, Sonic Lost World, Mega Man X4, X6. Love that soundtrack too as well. Yeah, I mean, like I said, even just like scrolling through this, I want to say at least half of my sound library or my music library is video game music. And I don't listen to it like actively, but if I'm driving or something and it comes on, I almost never skip. I'm like, I remember this, and then like I jam out. Yeah, Streets of Rage 2, even Streets of Rage 1. Uh, uh, in the cowbell, you know what I'm saying? Fuck yeah, I'm gonna go download that as soon as we get. Before I leave, I'm gonna go download that and put that on the phone. Uh, uh. Are you the average Apple Music enjoyer? No, I don't have subscriptions to anything. I have no, unless if it's like super cheap, like $1, for 3 months or something, then I almost never do it because I'll go to SoundCloud or I'll go to Bandcamp and just like listen to other artists or something. But yeah, I mean, I listen to almost everything electronic. Dude, Sonic Adventure 2, fucking Space Trip Steps, Meteor Herd. You don't know shit about that. I should probably remix this. Do like a melodic halftime thing or not melodic halftime thing, but like a hip hop boom bap thing. I also started, I don't know if any of you all play League of Legends, but I started like very, very beginning a Kaisa remix. which I actually don't know shit about League of Legends, but I play Riftbound. I don't know if you all have ever heard of that or not, but it's the card game. And I play Kaisa, and I was like, oh, what kind of music is. I was like, what kind of music does this have? And most of it's kind of not my thing. It's like all epic and whatever, but um, every once in a while, or like the Kaisa theme was actually pretty sick. I think that I only have the melody down though, but at some point I want to do a remix of that. I'm just trying to plan out like what kind of like beat structure I want to have over it, but it's got some really weird melodic stuff in it. Like let me see if I can find just the melody. Here it is, the Kaisa remix. Did I sample this by chance? I think this was some hardware stuff. But this melody here, like that's fucking sick. And so turning that into something like maybe faster. Do 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 do. Boom. And then also getting the right instrumentation for it or whatever. But yeah, I spent a day just audiating and trying to find the matching melody, and then there's a bass line under it that sounds very Metroid-like, of like do 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 boom dun 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 or something like that I wanted to get down, and it would be cool to have like a sustained one note, you know, like, and then when the melody comes back in, you know, play that with the bass line. So it's coming along. Like the vision is starting to move, but I'm not trying to rush it. I'm not trying to force it, but it's going to be really fucking sick to make a remix. And then we have like a Riftbound Discord between all of the local stores out here in the state. And so being able to share that with everybody, I think would be a lot of fun. I just have to actually do the thing. But yeah. Anyway, I don't really have anything else that I want to do today, guys. Do you? Does anyone have any questions about anything or whatever? I appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me today. Thank you for being here. We still have our 25% off sale going on at alchemy.com. I will say, if you all get the chance, if you've purchased anything, if you've done a lesson with me, if you've interacted with any kind of content that I have for sale, whether it be free or not, can I please ask you to do two things? I don't even care if you like the video, but can you go here and can you leave a review for me? That would mean the world. And if you do get something for free, then join the mailing list, because I'll let you all know when I've got sales going on or when I put up a new free product or whatever. And I think going forward from here, every product that I put out is going to be cheaper. It's just going to be smaller. So, you know, it's a lot easier to ask somebody for $10 than it is for $45 for this much content when they don't know what they're getting themselves into, you know? But if I have a sample pack for $10 and it's got 200 sounds in it or something, you know what I mean? It's like, what, 10 cents a sound? So I would buy that. But that's kind of what we're looking at. And even for the patches and stuff, I think it's just going to be smaller banks, bite-sized stuff that doesn't cost someone an arm and a leg. But anyway, I would love you forever if you could do that. And yeah, I don't really have anything else that I want to cover today, so I'm going to eat something and get out of here. But much love. We'll be here on Wednesday. Maybe Wednesday I'll start a new project, or I'll keep working on the on this guy, which is, where are we at here? We started this on Saturday. I actually sent this to Andre. I sent this to Copycat, and he said that he was too busy, so that gives me the green light to finish it. But yeah, maybe Wednesday we'll try to wrap this one up.